until I started to really open up, plug in and listen and ask the questions, what about that lit him up, is what started getting me understanding truly the conscious love languages that were underneath that.
Maybe this isn't working. Maybe we're not on the same page. Maybe we're not on the same wavelength. What if it's just because you don't know each other at the deepest level?
Conscious couples, business partners, and singles committed to attracting their dream partner. Welcome to the Conscious Couples podcast, where we share our life, love story, and combined relationship expertise to help you create and consistently cultivate the most magnificent, intimate relationship possible.
Never again will you feel hopeless and alone in your intimate relationship challenges.
Having accumulated thousands of hours coaching conscious couples and individuals all over the world, as well as starting and growing a global business together, Alan and I are here to guide you in all things relationships.
Thank you again for tuning into the one place where it's not about you or me, it's about the we. Conscious couples and individuals out there, welcome to episode 5 of the one and only Conscious Couples podcast. So our last episode, if you listened or viewed, if you haven't, go back. I'm just joking. But it was on cup fillers, how to fill your partner's cup. Today, we're going to do an episode that is very much piggybacking on that because we're taking you on a journey, and it's on learning your partner's love languages. So the cup fillers that we referred to on the last episode, and just for context, I had a flashcard in my pocket with Emilia's top 5 cup fillers. We have something called the 25 conscious love languages. So if you've ever heard of the love language book by Gary Chapman, the 5 love languages, Emilia and I, when we started doing this relationship talks coaching and we started to analyze ourselves and our own relationship, we realized there are a lot more than 5. And you can really stack these. So we have the 25 conscious love languages. And the important piece here to understand is if you don't understand what your partner's love languages are, you're probably not speaking them in this analogy. So as always, ladies first, I'm going to pass it to Emilia, and she's going to explain to you a little bit of how to stack these love languages and how cup fillers really are stacked love languages.
Yeah. So first, I am going to give a shout out to NLPS, Next Level Podcast Solutions. They are the people behind the scenes that have made this show possible. So big shout out to them. And thank you so much. Starting with gratitude always. But to Alan's point, conscious love languages are something that can be the key to your success if you use it within relationships. And so I want everyone to kind of go back to a moment in time where they were just starting out dating their partner. They were going on their first date. However that looked like, there was a lot of anxiety, probably. You probably got a little butterflies in your stomach. You probably started to get all like concerned about how you looked, if you said something right. And in that moment, what was happening is you had no idea who this person was. You had no idea what their interests were, where their heart lies on certain topics that are really deeply meaningful to you. And I know that when it comes to conscious love languages, you don't initially start speaking that language of your partner from the very beginning. A lot of couples struggle with being on the same page. And Alan and I know this because we work with people around the world. And that's something that if you could really be on the same page with your partner and you could speak the same language rather than feeling almost like a foreigner in your relationship, what could that possibly do for you? Who could you become as a couple, as a team, if you two were speaking the same language? And so now fast forward from your first date to where you are now in your relationship, right? You might have been jiving in a couple of things and you guys seem to work pretty well, but there might be some little nuances between your relationship where you feel like you might just be missing the mark. And this is where the conscious love languages come in. So I'll give an example with when I started dating Alan. So when I started dating Alan, I really started to tune into what he enjoyed. And it was obvious because we were talking about a lot of the things that we love. But one of the things that started to come up as a key theme as I started tuning in was his love for movies. And me being the person who has like committed to not watching TV, not watching any movies because of how much time that sucks up, I realized that, okay, well, could this be a potential source of conflict in our relationship? And instead of not tuning into something that he clearly loved so much, he would talk about the different movies that he has. And he even has a playlist of like movie scores, which I don't even know what that was at the time, but it's the playlist that like is the sounds that happen in movies. And this whole movie theme of what he loved and what lit him up started to become like every different facet of his life. How he goes about even talking about leadership, it always relates back to a movie that he saw or a specific character in a movie or a framework, you know? And so as his partner, I started being like, okay, there's definitely something more underneath this that I should probably tune into. Obviously it's a choice, even though I might not really love movies and maybe I've been conditioned to not really appreciate them in the way that he has. What if, as his partner, trying to be the best partner he's ever had and trying to be the best version of myself, what if I were to tune into this love that he has for movies? And as I started to do that, I started to really learn so much more about him as a human being than I ever could have thought I could have learned. And here's the key factor. If I didn't tune in, I would have never gotten to know him at the deepest levels. And so for you out there with your partners, there's likely that something that lights your partner up. And you might have even gotten annoyed by it because you just don't understand why they love movies. It's in everything that they do. They keep going back to this example, right? So it might annoy you because you haven't dug underneath and you haven't gotten truly the gold that can matter to you, that can get you on the same page with them, that can make you feel as though, hey, you know what? I might not love movies, but I'm starting to like it because of the way that you appreciate it and the little nuances to what you enjoy. And so there's likely something in your partnership where you might not be on the same page. For this example, I didn't really like movies. Alan did. It lit him up. And it wasn't until I started plugging into that light up, the somatic expression, him opening up his energy whenever he talked about movies or whatnot. And until I started to really open up, plug in and listen and ask the questions, what about that lit him up, is what started getting me understanding truly the conscious love languages that were underneath that.
So there's only ever been two things in our relationship that I think each of us had a challenge with regarding the other person's love languages, and we're going to talk openly about both of those in this episode. Mm-hmm. So my love for movies comes from when I was a little kid, and me and my best friend at the time, Ryan Bliss, who's now a movie director, just used to always we were the biggest movie buffs of all time. We used to play the movie game where you guess an actor and then you pick a movie that actor's in, and then you pick another actor in that other movie, and then you see how long you can go. And, you know, it was just a childhood thing. And underneath my love of movies is my love of story. It's my love of transformation, because the characters in movies transform through challenge. Yeah. And for me as a kid, I had so much challenge, and I was trying to transform through and be the hero of my own story. And so there's a lot more underneath this than people realize. And the only point, so Emilia had to check in. We often say on this podcast and in our life all the time, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. When you're in a relationship, the whole should be greater than the sum of its parts. And for us, there were two things that we both weren't necessarily 100% on the same page with. One of them was the movie thing. Emilia was unsure if the movie thing was going to be something that she could get on board with. And for me, I told myself a story that I love adventure as much as she did. And we actually had what we referred to as our 10 commandments back then, which was the 10 core values of our relationship. And one of them was adventure. And I was sharing that with Kevin. And he's like, dude, I've worked with you for 4.5 years. You don't care about adventure.
How many adventures have you gone on?
Yeah, exactly, right? Because I remember one time we're on the Pacific Coast Highway and we're headed to a podcast interview in Malibu. And Kevin's like, let's just get dinner tonight. Let's get like a really fancy dinner. Let's treat ourselves. Like, it's going to be on the side of a mountain. Let's go and like get dinner. And I'm like, where did that idea come from? And he's like, it was Taryn's idea. She doesn't think that we treat ourselves enough. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Let's not do that. And so nothing against Taryn, because I understand, right? Her love for adventure is more than Kevin's. And so Kevin and I don't really care that much. We're homebodies who like to stay at home, and he likes to watch UFC. I like to watch movies. But the beauty of having a relationship is that it's supposed to spice up your life, and it's supposed to get you outside your comfort zone, and it's supposed to get you to adventure in ways and think in ways that you never have before. And so she's going to use movies as an example of a love language for me, a cup filler for me. I'm going to use adventure as an example of something for her. And now the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, because without me, Emilia might never have seen Interstellar. She might never have seen Inception. She might never have contemplated all of these incredible things. There's one part in Interstellar that has changed our life because she realized some major breakthroughs in terms of how manifestation actually works. And we're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but
it also showed me truly like who I was all along. It gave me validation for what I've been chasing after, and not made me feel so alone for that.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off.
And the adventure part, I know that I'm going to travel more and experience different cultures, and I know that we're going to do things and hike more and see places that I, on my own accord, might not. And so the whole can be greater than the sum of its parts. And yes, relationships should be built on similar core aspirations, core values, and core beliefs. But if there is a core value in conflict, it doesn't have to stay in conflict.
Truth.
You can evolve. You can make sure that each of you as individuals evolve. And I remember the very first time her and I went shopping together, she said, do you love shopping? You love grocery shopping? And I was like, I told myself before this relationship, I'm going to be 100% authentically me. I started going down this math road. I was like, well, there's Euclid's axioms and common notions. And in it's a mathematical term of that which is equal to the same thing is actually equal to each other. So what I said is that if it's valuable to you, I love you. And if you love shopping, I can learn to love shopping. But no, on my own accord, I don't. I genuinely don't like grocery shopping.
So you don't go grocery shopping and like on your free time?
No, of course not. But now we grocery shop together better than we ever have before, and we're super optimized. We have a whole list. It's awesome. And I actually do more of the grocery shopping in our relationship, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I have to love it.
Right.
I just don't. So
what's going on? This is Branden and Hannah. We wanted to give a shout out to Alan and Emilia and their relationship talks. And going into relationship talks, I was under the impression that, my relationship didn't have any conflict or didn't have any problems. It actually was that way, but I knew I wanted a relationship that resembled Alan and Emilia, and that's a relationship that is just next level and different from other relationships. So seeking out their help has really brought me and Hannah together, and it's just been really, really incredible, and I can't thank them enough.
Yeah, Alan and Emilia have both helped us in recognizing and acknowledging each other's really important core values and given us insight and guidance on how to align those together so that we know we're growing together and never apart. The goal is always to kind of be in everything together as a team.
Alan and Emilia, we love you and thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you.
Be authentic in your relationships. Be truthful.
Yeah.
Am I as adventurous as Emilia? No. Is she going to love movies as much as me? No.
Right.
But that doesn't mean we can't share those loves with one another in a fun, unique way that is actually aligned.
Right.
Now I'm watching more aligned movies, and I don't watch any low-vibe movies for the most part anymore. And you're adventuring in more proactive, conscious ways that isn't just the same as the way you used to go and do things.
Right.
And so the whole can be greater than the sum of its parts. And I digress. We're going to talk about the 25 conscious love languages and how those cup fillers that we talked about on episode 4 are actually stacked love languages. So we're going to use movies and adventures as an example. So Emilia and Kevin and I have a adventure budget. at NLU. And he and Taryn do an adventure every quarter, and you and I are doing an adventure every quarter. And we actually, the budget right now is $750 each for Kevin and I, but for each couple. And so we're going on an adventure to Vermont. I don't know. It's in April, right? It's in it's
first week of April.
First week of April, because our event is March 26th, so we didn't want to do it until after that.
Yep.
But so we're going to Vermont. We had a $750 budget, and it was like an adventure budget because Taryn and Emilia love adventure, and Kevin and I want to adventure with them more. And so what I want to do is I want to highlight for all of our listeners and viewers how many of your love languages actually get stacked in this one weekend. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, before we even get into that, babe, I think helping people understand what's the difference between love languages as they know it versus conscious love languages.
Yeah.
So a lot of people know love languages to be from a book that was written by Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages. And those love languages are aspects of relationships that you and your partner can love on each other for. So very often you'll hear that quality time is number 1. Gifts, giving is number 2. Acts of service is number 3. Physical touch is number 4. And then what was the 5th one?
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. So a lot of people know those.
Yeah. And those are 5 of the 25 of our
Right.
conscious love languages as well.
Absolutely. So we have built on top of that, putting an additional 20 conscious love languages on top of those things. So like Alan said, we're going to use these examples to help show you the layering of that and what you can do. Your cup fillers are a culmination of the different love languages, if you will, or the conscious love languages that you pull together. And this is what fills your partner's cup.
So if you remember on episode 4, Emilia, I actually think we might have cut this part out because my mic stand was messing up.
Yeah.
And we were laughing hysterically. But on episode 4, the part that got cut, Emilia was talking about movies and how on my birthday, she stacked every cup filler.
Yes.
Which means that she incorporated as many of these love languages into one day as possible. And I told her sincerely, my 33rd birthday was the best day of my entire life. Genuinely. But it's a science.
It was
consciousness.
It was conscious. Intentional love.
It was so unbelievable. And in hindsight, I didn't really construct my birthdays based on my love languages in the past. And the last 32nd and 33rd birthday have been so magnificent because you were so conscious and intentional with making them so special. And you actually asked me, like, what do you want to do for your birthday, right? So it's amazing. Go figure. Yeah, crazy. All right, so what I want to do first, real quick, is go through each of the 25.
Yep.
And then I'm going to highlight the ones that this adventure coming up actually will highlight. We also have a worksheet, by the way, with the 25 conscious love languages, and it's designed so that our clients, but anyone listening, you'll get access to this. It'll be a link in the show notes. And it's designed to help you rate them from 0 to 10 on level of most importance.
Yep.
Because think about this. If physical touch is a level 10 for me, and it was only a level 1 for you, that's a huge disconnect. That's not the case.
Right.
That's not the case with us. That's just an example, hypothetical. But you might be missing your partner if someone's valuing quality time at a level 10, and for you, quality time is a 2, you're missing your partner's love language, most likely, if you're not consciously trying to work on that. Okay? So number 1 is quality time. We already went through the first 5. So the first 5 are quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, gift giving, and receiving. Okay? Now, the next one after that is deep conversations. The next one after that is supporting one's evolution. The next one after that is supporting one's endeavors, goals, and aspirations. Then there's playfulness, humor, and ability to be a kid again. There's food, cooking together, sharing food experiences. There's sexual intimacy. There's proactive, expressive interest to understand partner's trauma, triggers, and shame. There's combating biases as a team. There's philanthropic efforts together, fun, unique experiences and adventures, doing projects and goals together, displayed proactive empathy and vulnerability, shared awareness, acceptance of personal choices, health and fitness, future orientation and initiative to build, money, lifestyle preferences, active listening, and then there's conscious parenting and caregiving. If anyone wants this worksheet, the link will be in the show notes, and please reach out to us if you have a question on any of these. This worksheet is really well done, and Emilia created it, and you can rate from 0 to 10 with your partner. Oh, okay. I didn't know deep conversations was a 10 out of 10. Okay, perfect. Let's have more deep conversations.
Right.
That's one that I've noticed a lot of couples struggle with, because one person really wants to have a lot of vulnerable, deep conversations about life and love and goals and dreams, and the other partner might not.
Right.
And so all of these, where are you missing your partner? And again, Emilia and I actually have a coaching call coming up soon, so we got to crank. So if we're rushing, that's why.
Yeah. So I think that's again, stacking those is huge. So like, for example, when I watch a movie with Alan, I know that it's stacking multiple love languages: quality time, physical touch. You have, like, you name it. I have them all right here, but there's 11 conscious love languages that I'm stacking when you and I choose to have aligned entertainment or aligned movie. Now, this is what's interesting. A lot of couples don't consciously try to stack those. And what if you could go through your life understanding and choosing, almost like you're on a menu, what type of love do I want to have today with my partner? If I were to choose this love language and this love language and pair those together like a bouquet, you'd have a beautiful bouquet of love with your partner every single day.
You go into a restaurant and you want to have the most magnificent meal possible. So you choose a salad and a steak and a vegetable on the side and an appetizer and a specific drink that you want and dessert. Imagine if you planned your days with your partner like that. And not every day maybe, but you can be more intentional. You can be more conscious.
Yeah.
And when you do, you'll be amazed how well this works. Love is a science.
It is.
Love is a formula. And there's a way to amplify that.
Yeah. So with the interest of time, I am going to cut down to our steps. There's 3 very basic steps of if you do want to learn your partner's conscious love languages. Very basic at the bare minimum. And this is also our call to action for you partners out there. Number 1, figure out what lights your partner up. This makes you plug in and pay attention. What are they getting excited for and what brings them joy? Tune into that. Ask them about it. Step number 2 is asking your partner, what do you enjoy about this? What was the most exciting part about this part of your day or this adventure that you went on or whatever it is? And then number 3, this is where the math comes in. Gauge their fulfillment afterwards. 0 to 10, babe. How fulfilling was that for you? You said you went on, you had a call with your family, like 0 to 10. How fulfilling was that for you? Okay, if that was a 10 out of 10, then family is a huge stacked love languages for you. So those are quick 3 raw and real ways to understand and learn your partner's love languages. But, for each individual, it might look a little different from that. So use the differences to your advantage and let that be the fabric that weaves truly the most magnificent relationship possible.
And if you're out there and you're thinking to yourself, like, maybe this isn't working, maybe we're not on the same page, maybe we're not on the same wavelength. What if it's just because you don't know each other at the deepest level? Right. What if you just haven't been open-minded enough to ask the other person about who they are and why they love these things and what fills them up? At the beginning of your relationship, obviously something was working incredible and you've both evolved as individuals, but the question is, have you evolved as a couple? Yeah. Have you evolved together or have you evolved apart? And this is one of the most foundational ways to make sure you stay on the same wavelength and the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And so after my birthday, she asked me, how fulfilling was that? And I said, best day of my life. Right. Now she knows.
Now I know.
Now she knows.
10 out of 10s.
We promised each other we would never stop learning each other.
Yeah.
Because I know Emilia is going to evolve way more and more and more exponentially over time. So I'm going to have to learn and relearn who she is if I want to continue to grow with her.
Likewise.
And that's such a beautiful commitment that we've made to each other, and you can do that with your partner as well. For sure. One more little disclaimer. If you are single out there, this is your relationship with yourself. Yeah. What are your love languages, and are you fulfilling your own cup? It's another question. Okay, so we got to go here because we got a coaching call with our clients, our amazing clients. And so our live event, virtual event rather, not live, virtual event. Every month we do one. I don't know the exact date, but the link will be in the show notes, and it's going to be a deeper dive into your partner's love languages. Register below. Christina will be co-piloting. Those are very much, these are bite-sized episodes that are super valuable, but this is going to be a deeper dive where we actually take you through the worksheet, show you a clear definition of each one, and you and your partner can really get to another level of the same wavelength.
Every second Thursday of the month. So we hope to see you there. And remember, it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about the we.
The we. Talk to you soon.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Conscious Couples podcast. We love connecting with the Conscious Couples community, so please make sure you follow us on Instagram. I am at Evolve with Emilia, and Alan is Lazaros88.
Also, if you or your partner resonated with this episode, leave us a review at the link in the show notes, and please share this with someone you love and care about.
Until next time, remember, it's not about you or me. It's about
the we.